gotten so much thicker ever since taking this.
I used to have probiotic and green juice. I replaced it all with this Arma colostrum.
Gotta take it.
First thing I noticed was the energy and recovery that it had after workout. I wanted to try it. Try Arma.com.
Hey, welcome to my afternoon live. I am, thank you for sharing that. I'm trying to get my mic working right and my camera working right and my second screen working right. Have you ever had those kind of issues where you're just trying to get stuff to work right? But, so one of the things that we'll do is, here we go. And then Yak, you're always on this thing. Don't you ever get off? So right now I'm trying to fix my secondary screen. I appreciate all the likes. Yak, you're doing great. Uh, basically, right now I am trying to figure out. This is not what I wanted to hear. You must be on TikTok all day long. You know, so you know, yesterday you had asked a question about you going and working for that job or looking at that job for the interview for kitchen. Have you ever thought about just doing some TikTok stuff? Because there's a lot of, you know, you're on it all the time. You already have some skills around it. Why don't you try doing something with that? You know, it's not, I mean, I'm learning it as I go. A lot of my friends who are my age are learning it as we go. And so why not learn with us while we do this thing, right? This first part about these lives is just to get TikTok to know our voices, or you know, what it is we're trying to do, and it knows everything that we're doing, every little button that we're pushing, every thing that we're putting up on our screens. And so, man, Yak, how many times can you share this thing? I appreciate you sharing. But so anyway, the my morning best is in the morning. That's my time, is the morning. The afternoons, I've already had a long day. And one of the things that I wanted to test out right now was how to keep my CPU cooling or cool. And the cover to my computer, I cleaned out the dust a couple of days ago, and so it just is not. Again, I'm trying to figure out these issues with the appreciate all the likes and all the shares. Anyway, so yeah, so you know, normally when I get on this thing, when we talk about what to talk about and how, you know, what to talk about, I usually have a chat GPT window open over here, so let me get that going. Because a lot of my notes are in my Chat GPT, and I think everybody, if you haven't started using Chat GPT, you should use it because it helps you stay organized. Um, it helps you expand what your original idea was, right? And so I know that one of the things that I had, what I've been using it for, is to basically write songs, create songs. If you ever listen to musicians and they tell you about that, they're sitting around talking and somebody will say something and one of the other musicians will say, that'll be a good song. Or that makes, that's a good line, and write that down. And so so I've been playing with my Chat GPT, if I could get it over here to work up and open. But there's so many things buzzing and going, and I'm like, man, thanks for all the hearts, man. There are 832 hearts. You must have just been going crazy over there. But hold on just a second. So let me see here. Okay, so let me see. This is not what I want here. Here we go. It's like it's just going slow. Everything's just so slow right now. I don't know why. But we don't let that hold us back. Hey Madison, what's the me? Did I ask a question? If I asked a question, I forgot what it was already. So excuse me for that. I'm trying to you can go pay for that skill. Now, here's another thing. Say you don't want to do that and you want to do something online, then go to that 90-day freedom blueprint and go get in there, and there's some training in there, and we can work together. And you can work with the community that I'm a part of, that's over 50,000 people, and we're also doing more on affiliate TikTok shop. So you can try to do that. There's pros and cons and everything, depending on what you want to do, where you want to be able to work. I've always wanted to work from anywhere, and so this TikTok has opened my eyes to a lot of things, and so I wanted to get into it, because the more I see it, the more I see it as a winner. And now let me see what's going on here with my stuff. Here it's coming up. But anyway, yeah, so good questions. If anybody else has any other questions. Like I said, looking back on my career, I've taken a lot of trainings. I've taken a lot of certification courses. But again, all those courses, in my opinion, just help you become a better problem solver. And at the end of the day, that's what we do. We solve problems. But if you don't have any skills to solve problems, well, then you got to go find some skills, because then you're going to want to go solve some problems. A lot of the stuff that I've been thinking about lately for me personally is to help people overcome that one big thing that's always going to get in your way, and that's your thinking. Because your thinking is the very first obstacle everybody runs into. Can I do it? Self-doubt. And so you have to have a self-image that you can see yourself being a digital contributor. You have to have a self-image in your head that you can see yourself being a lawyer. You can you see yourself being an astronaut? Can you see yourself being a consultant? Can you see yourself being a beautician? Can you see yourself? You have to start with a self-image. And then you got to have the self-confidence in yourself when you don't have everything going for you, that it's going to happen. You can do it, and it's going to get done. And then the other part is your self-esteem. You got to be gentle on yourself, because everybody makes mistakes. Everybody runs into problems. Everybody has issues. And your self-esteem, you can't let yourself be your own worst enemy. You got to stay on top of that. So self-image, can you see yourself doing what you want to do? Self-confidence, because there's going to be up days and down days, and you just have to be confident that you can handle it. And the beauty of digital marketing that I see is when you come into a community and you meet me, I'll be with you. You can send me a message. We can talk. We can chat. Set up a Zoom, whatever, and we can start talking about the issue and then figuring out a plan to get you past that issue. Whereas in these other jobs or businesses, you don't usually get that chance, because you're always you're always fighting with your neighbor because he's trying to get a promotion and you're trying to get a promotion, and there's always competitive. In this environment, in the digital space, it's not about competition. It's about contribution. It's about how you can help somebody else, because we're all just trying to solve problems for other people. And so that's where a lot of you guys need to start focused on, is that what are you bringing to the table? What value are you going to give your customer when they say, I want to buy from you? You don't want to have your buyer have buyer's remorse. And like I said, to me, people can say, oh, that program didn't work, I put money in, but these programs, they work because the very first thing that the programs are for is for knowledge. If you don't have any knowledge of the subject matter, if you don't have any skills in the subject matter, you need to get the skills. You need to get the experience. And so there's nothing wrong with investing money and time into your new endeavor, because that's how you're going to make this thing happen. Give me 1 second. Oh my God. So let me look to see over here. What have I been looking at today? So today on ChatGPT, I went and looked up the Social Security tax relief, primarily because I wanted to know if in that big, beautiful bill, I wasn't going to have to pay tax on my Social Security earnings. And it helped me, but I don't think it still helped me. I won't know what it is until I see where it says, here's 2025 and your earnings are X and you don't owe any tax on it. So it's complicated, but I think it's in there somewhere about the taxes on your Social Security. But and then there were some kids at school that were talking about a story or a play called Death of a Salesman. And I said, I've heard Death of a Salesman has been in the school, it's been in the school English programs for years. And I said, I don't even know what it was about either. So I went out and took a look at it, and now I sort of kind of think I want to go read it or watch the movie, or if there's a movie about it, watch it. At a glance, the title is The Death of a Salesman. Author is Arthur Miller. The theme is the failure of the American dream. And isn't that what we're always doing? Is we're thinking about, did the American dream fail me? Did I not be able? Was I not able to take advantage of the American dream? And it's and I keep thinking all the time, do we have the American dream? Did my parents have the American dream? My parents had a house. We had a house on. They had double incomes, had two incomes. But my dad was primary. My mom was secondary, and so, we had food. We had a house. We had a car. Back then we weren't at 2-car level yet, but we were at 1 car, and my mom would go to work with her girlfriends from the neighborhood, and so that was the American dream back then, and I don't know what else we could have asked for except peace and live our lives the way we wanted to live them, learn English, get ahead. It was always about us getting ahead of, or doing better than our fathers did, our parents did. Hey, John Currit Show. Thanks for joining. And so we're talking about how I use my ChatGPT today. I was telling them that I was talking to some kids at the school where I substitute. Hey, Carl, thanks for joining. And they were doing something with the Death of a Salesman, and I was trying to say, I never paid attention in that English class when it came across. So I just wanted to go back and see what it is. And so the play is a critique of the American dream, that if you work hard, stay liked, and follow the rules, you'll be successful. But Willy Loman, the aging and increasingly delusional salesman, is proof that this dream doesn't work for everyone. And it doesn't work for everyone. There's a lot of people, and I want to put, you guys know, what's his name? He's a pastor turned business person. What's his name? It'll come to me. But he once said, and I heard him say this in one video, he goes, I can help make you more than you are. I just can't make you something you're not. And that just all starts in your mind, how you perceive yourself to be. And that's where I started coming up with the idea. I go, there has to be a way to sort of kind of put this thing together for a person, so that how do you see yourself? I see myself doing this, so I'm doing it. And I have confidence in my troubleshooting skills that if a problem showed up here, I would know how to fix it. If somebody was on here and started, doing a lot of crazy, talking back stuff, I know how to handle that. And I'm good with myself about learning and trying. I've made mistakes, but I know how to come back from those mistakes. And so I can coach and help somebody be more than what they are. And I want you to be more than I am. Because you might have that one song in your head. You may have that one better book in your head. But and there's lots of better salespeople than me. And so I just I don't have all the answers, just the ones that work for me. And so I know that if they work for me, they can work for you. I'm trying to hold that thought. But anyway, so what did you guys do today? What's on your, what have y'all been doing? I know I got one viewer in here. I got a couple that are viewing, but they're not in the view with me. Felix, did I answer your question? Is there anything else that I could share with you? I appreciate the questions. I appreciate the engagement. So anyway, go back over here to Death of a Salesman. If you didn't pay attention in English when you were in high school, now you have ChatGPT to give you cliff notes on everything and anything. And so to me, these are the cliff notes of Death of a Salesman. And see if it can't help you just get caught up on there's in our memory there are blank spaces that need to be filled in. I'd always heard about Death of a Salesman, but I had never heard the whole story. I didn't know what it was about. I just had heard the title, Death of a Salesman. And so this ChatGPT can now, again, be your Cliff Notes. How many of you guys are old enough to remember what Cliff Notes are? Give me a thumbs up or a 1. Anybody? Cliff Notes were just basically a booklet that had summarizations of the literature, the piece of literature. And so we use it a lot for English papers and that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's sort of kind of a cheating at the time. Not cheating, but just a fast way to do stuff and get schooled up on a subject. And so the key themes of this one, of this American Dream, The Death of a Salesman, the main plot points. Willie is past his prime, exhausted, and no longer successful. Now, no longer successful is, there's a lot of different ways to look at that, right? But he felt that he was past his prime, that he was exhausted, and that he was no longer successful. Those are his feelings. That doesn't mean that he couldn't have changed his feelings and gone after and done something different. Given that, back then it was just salesmen of parts or whatever they used to sell back in the 50s. But now, he could have been on here and been a salesman and been on TikTok Shop and probably could be a millionaire. So he starts, one of the problems that I see right here, he clings to the fantasies about being well-liked and admired, especially for his son, Biff. So I know at the time when I was a dad and my daughter was going to school, I wanted to be respected and I wanted to be liked because I didn't want my daughter to have issues with anybody, right? And that's just being avoiding conflicts. And so I didn't like that, and so there was a point in my time where there was a point in my life where I was always yes, 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 like me, yeah, yeah. And you're always going along. And then sooner or later it hits you that, well, that's dumb, and I don't want to do that. And so you start becoming more assertive. And in this case here, one of the lessons that I've learned from a couple of mentors is that you can't care what other people think about you personally. You can't take it personally because that's just their viewpoint of you. And that's not the viewpoint of your market. That's not the viewpoint of your customers. That's just one person's viewpoint. And so once you start learning that and putting that in your head, that you are doing your work, and if somebody else doesn't like it, well, that's tough because you're doing what you want to do. That's why we live here in America, because we get to do what we want to do. And then, so Biff, once a star athlete with a bright future, is now lost and resentful. We all had dreams. We all wanted to do something, and that time has come and gone. And so you can't be resentful. It's just part of the experience. It's just part of us growing and learning. And so the next bullet point, the family tries to hold it together, but secrets, lies, and unmet expectations arise. And it's true. Every family has secrets. Every family has things that are not said until the funeral. And then all of a sudden everybody has loose lips and they're just talking about everything that's happened to them and how this person, so they start regretting not doing things that they should have done. So then, and when you have that stinking thinking that, Zig Ziglar's so famous for, Willie's mental health deteriorated. He loses touch with reality. And eventually he takes his own life. Thinking his life insurance will give Biff a fresh start. So, does that, I personally wouldn't do it like that, primarily because I think my daughter would want to see me to keep fighting and doing things and keep experiencing new things and learning new challenges and learning new skills and just being able to contribute to the masses. One of my other mentors said it this way. He goes, find a way to serve the many, for service to many leads to greatness. And what that means is that, you can go work. You're a mechanic and you work on one car and there's one car, one mechanic, one car, one mechanic, one car, one mechanic. And that's fine. But that doesn't build you income or wealth. Because ideally you'd like to own all the garages that are out there in your city, and you own them all, and the mechanics work for you, and you get a little bit of profit from each of the mechanics that work on cars in your shops. That's thinking serve the masses, serve many. So anyway, I think for me, at my age, at 65, because we live in the United States of America, the dream is always there because we have that built into the Constitution, built into just our life. People just don't, they take it for granted. And so, so it says, Willie Loman dies believing he was never enough, always chasing a version of success that wasn't true to who he was. The deeper message, we must define on our own terms and not society's. So one of the things, and so that's a good point right here. I wanted to be a consultant at a corporate environment, in a corporate environment. I wanted to do all these things that these 4-year degree guys that were ahead of me were doing in corporate work. But that was never me. That just wasn't me. I couldn't see myself be doing that. But when I went to this one church, and it was like my first time there, I was new to Houston, and they did a spiritual gifts survey as part of their onboarding or welcoming people to the church, because they wanted to see where you fit well in the church so you can contribute. And so mine was management, which was leadership, teaching, and encouragement. So leadership, teaching, and encouragement. And so all those are sort of kind of like it's almost like being a pastor or somebody that offers assistance to others when they don't know where to turn. But because I've had so many experiences in my life, I have something that I can pick on from my own personal experiences. Plus, now with the advent of ChatGPT, I know what questions to ask ChatGPT to help me get an answer and help me get you an answer. And one of the first ahas that I had was, am I enough? And I can just tell you right now, you are enough. You are worthy and you are enough. Because anytime that we start looking outside out there, that's when you get lost. Everything that you need is inside. And I know it sounds kind of corny and like you've heard it before, and you don't know that you're getting it until you understand that part. That whatever you're thinking inside every single moment of the day is what you're getting out here. If you feel afraid in here, you're going to be afraid out here. If you feel confident out here, you're going to feel confident in here. If you have confidence in here, you're going to show confidence out here. You're going to try things. You're going to fail. You're not going to be, you're not going to be blaming anybody for your failures. You're just going to say, I tried that. It didn't work for me. Let me try it again another way. And I've done it a lot. I mean, all those books back there are just for ideas to help me solve a problem that I was having at a point in time in my life. And so I say this so that you guys can, again, learn. This is a perfect time to be learning AI. Whether you think it's good or bad or different doesn't matter. AI is here. It's here to stay, and either you're on board with it or you're going to get left behind. And so, so I'm just basically telling you, you need to get on AI somewhere, somehow, some way, and do something with it. Again, it helps me do a lot of different things. It helps me organize my thoughts, so when I come onto these lives, I can at least tell you what I was thinking about today and how I use ChatGPT to help me in that day. So that was the part about the play Death of a Salesman. And so now I know a little bit more about Death of a Salesman, so that if anybody asks me, I know what it's about. Then what else did I have? So, and then this next Friday is our last day of school. It's a half day, and I've been having some noise in the rear part of my car, but not like screeching or anything like that. It's just when I go over bumps. And I used to have that problem on the front side, and I had to replace some arms or something like that. I can't remember what they call it. But it's because the bearing that's in there broke or is loose, and all of a sudden it's just ka-dunk, 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 ka-dunk. And it's just, it's the metal hitting the metal. And so I said, well, let me, I've never researched the rear side of my vehicle, so let me go ahead and try to research the back side of the vehicle. And so, it gave me some ideas. It told me where to look, what kind of visual hold on, let's see here. So, yeah, so it gives you cost summaries for rear bearings. If you had one, the parts and the labor, so the total's about $200, $300. Bearings on both sides. Now, I don't remember. I know that I had the front bearings I've already replaced on my car. And I replaced them. I do stuff ahead of time, so preventive. I don't wait for it to break. I go ahead and fix it or put a new part. And on this, I'm going to be going out of town next Friday. I'm going to drive from El Paso to Conroe, Texas, to go see my brother. And I want to get there and I want to get back, because when I get back, I want to fix these things or start getting them ready. And so I I want to know a little bit in advance what is what is the damage? What's the damage of this thing? And so yeah. And so again, it asks you, let me know what your car is doing, e.g., humming in corners, clunking at speed, etc. And I can help you decide which area to investigate first and the ideal parts service strategy. And so I told it very little noise when I'm driving, but clunky going over speed bumps. In the apartment complex where I live, there's speed bumps. And so it'll go over the back and and so and it tells me, top suspects for clunky over bumps, rear shock absorbers. Yeah, this is an older car, and I haven't taken a look at those rear shock absorbers, but they have a thud, worn out shocks. They can't absorb the impact. And since I mainly do city driving. There's no off-roading or anything like that, so just straight. I try to stay out of rocky roads or roads that are bumpy. Again, part cost is reasonable. And then the way I do my shop stuff here, I buy the part on my own. I find a place, I have a local, they call it a master lube place, but it's they rent out their mechanics. If they don't have any work, you can get their mechanic at their rate, and then they do the part, and you just take them apart and they'll fix it for you. And so the sway bar was what I fixed on the front end, so I know what that was like. That didn't take very much to get that fixed up. Control arm bushings. Yes, and so I got new tires. I'll be able to see if any of this is rear tire wear. If anything happens there, then I'll know that something's going on with that. But anyway, so yeah, what can I do next? And that's what I'm going to be doing this weekend is the bounce test, the visual inspections. I'm going to get a suspension check because I'm going to be driving from El Paso to basically the Houston area. That's a 12-hour ordeal. And but I want to do it because I want to be down there. I don't want to rent a car. My car will make it. And I just want to know what I'm going to be working on when I get back. It's just I think like that. I think in advance. I don't wait for stuff to happen. I take a look at it and get on it before it even starts. So that was that. Then this is cool because I was busy today and I just didn't want to think too much about it. I said, I need a travel prep checklist, And so it came up and told me two things. It gave me a lot of stuff about traveling, especially over into Mexico. Because I have a plan to move into Mexico, so it gave me a checklist for going into Mexico. But right now, I'm going to stay inside the U.S. for the moment. And so I'll look at this checklist that it gave me. And I like that it gave me the check boxes. So I'll just print it, and I'll have it, so I don't forget anything. For sure, I want to take all my cables because my lives from Houston will be coming from a Chromebook, the Chromebook camera. I have another separate monitor that has to have a cable to it. I'll leave this computer here. I might take this light ring with me. But yeah, so if anybody's out there, you have any comments about traveling and what do you like to pack, let me know. If not, well, that's okay. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. Again, car chargers. And because it's a long drive, I am going to probably take some breaks along the road. And I asked ChatGPT to tell me where the better rest stops were on I-10 going east toward Houston. And it came up with a list of times to get there, and it would tell me where would be a good place to stop. And so I can't wait for that. And again, I'm going to be taking my little snacks and stuff, first aid. I'll be working on that this weekend. I was driving shorts, so that's my comfortable driving clothes. Here in Texas now, it's starting to get into the hundreds, And I'm going to be driving into Houston, where it's going to be more humid than it is up here in El Paso. I'll have my sweaters and light jackets. Um, the car prep is normal stuff. Um, so as I'm driving, that's another thing. I like to utilize all my time for in productive activities. And so one of the things that I'm working on is Audible. I always have my books, and so I have my books on tape, and I'll listen to a book or two when I'm driving. And I don't do it all for the whole. I don't do it for the whole trip, but I do for parts of it because I do want to keep that daily activity of learning something new. But now I've been making music through AI through a site called Suno.com, and I started putting together some songs that tell stories of my life from when I got to Houston, and actually now thinking back even when I was a kid, my parents, how they raised us, and what they were doing. But those songs, I'm organizing them, and then I'm trying to figure out a way to monetize those songs. Now, AI helped write them from a prompt that I made. Everybody here has a prompt that you can write. You know, your parents were two-income households, or divorced, or there's your dad died young. There's all kinds of scenarios in that prompt. The city where you grew up in, the people that you grew up with, all that stuff is part of the song. And the more information that you can give ChatGPT to help you generate lyrics, you're just trying to convey the message of what you're trying to sing about or want the song to be about. And even when we were growing up, you're always trying to figure out, why am I the way I am? And so you think back about the things that happened. Hey, Nurbo, you think about the stuff that happened to you, and so you want to know, so what actually happened? How was I impacted by that experience? And do I need to get rid of that experience? Do I need to keep working on it? But anyway, all these songs are meant for personal development, are meant to help people get past mental blocks, are meant to share my experiences that, again, you're not alone. Everybody has them. And so I'm going to be doing that. I'll get my equipment for when I set up down at my brother's place. Again, it talks about, I'll be notifying my people here locally of my travel plans. Halfway down in San Antonio, I got some cousins that let them know that I'm coming that way, just so they'll know that I'm coming, and then I'll make it to Houston. I'm going to clean out the fridge and all that kind of stuff. And then what else? I'm gonna work on car prep, the daily essentials, and tech for my license. So that's where the focus is, and so I'll be working on that. What else is here? And then the stuff from Mexico is its own deal. So then, cool CPU for live streams. Again, I have a CPU that's been overheating and making things slow down, and I took the cover off. I had the apartment cool, and to see if that helps cool it any, but I haven't seen any. I haven't seen any major changes in the speed of delivery of this live. I know this morning when I tried to get on, it was just bogging down all morning or the whole time, so it just gets frustrating. And at the end, I just decided I'll do it in the afternoon. So right now we're up to close to 50 minutes, and I haven't had an issue, which is good. And so let's knock on wood, and let's keep going. Has anybody here any experience with putting on cooling fans for your CPU? I know that they have these other fans that you can put under your laptop to cool from the bottom. I don't know what I'm going to do on this one because it has a big space over here where my computer stands on its side, and when I took the cover off, You know, there's a lot of room in there to blow cold air into with a fan. So I might just think about just getting a fan and just having a fan cool it from the outside. What else is here? Okay, so then so Suno playlist organization. So I told you that I've been going to Suno, which is a artificial intelligence music thing, and let's see how long let's see, because here, this is one of the big hiccups right here. If I put it in here and I hit enter, it's been taking a long time for it to pull up. I don't know why, because everything stays the same, the internet's the same, everything's the same, but Suno is where I am doing my music creation. I even made a couple of songs for the kids at school today because, you know, the classes are winding down, wrapping up, and the classes that we go to are music classes. One's a piano class and one's a guitar class. And I wanted to do something for the kids to show them that they could create songs off that AI. And so I shared something with them on that. But again, when it comes to this, it seems just to take a long time for it to come up. And I'll see that comes up. But anyway, what else do I have over here? Just goes real slow. And then I'll lose my mouse in here somewhere. Yeah, so one of the things that I want to do is organize my Suno account with all the songs that I have. For $10 a month, I can create like 2,000 songs. And all of a sudden you're starting to create songs and you're like, well, where'd that come from? And I don't remember that one. And so I'm trying to organize the way these songs are so that I can put them all in together. So here's the Suno playlist structure for me, organized by theme and purpose, ready for TikTok, YouTube, and teaching. So my first thing is I want to write songs about the hero's journey. We're all on a hero's journey. You are your own hero. Either you've accepted a call to go into a challenge or you haven't. And so we all share that same trait. You know, I was in South Texas for 20 years, and all of a sudden I got this job in Houston. That's 350 miles away, leaving home, leaving my brother, leaving my dad, leaving aunts and uncles and cousins. And so I had to, it was a call to adventure, like it says right there, call to adventure. And and at first people tell me, don't go, you know, why are you going to go up there? There's so much crime and a little bit of everything. But then I meet a mentor, Clyde Stapp. He tells me about what I could do in Houston. And I lived there close to 40 years. I have a lot of trials. I have a lot of allies there. And I approached the inmost cave where it's like that. That's where you figure out, am I going to make it or am I going to have to go back home? That's the big deal there. Am I going to make it or do I have to go back home? And so I went through a lot of things there. I got married there. I had my daughter there. Got divorced there. Lost a job there. Found another job. Had another career. Started another career. And then eventually ended up moving up here to El Paso. And so now to me, I'm at what they call the road back, the resurrection and return with the Elixir. Now's my time to give back about that whole hero's journey of mine that I did. So that when you see your hero's journey, you can sort of kind of put in perspective, hey, I had the same kind of thing. I could have gone to a Houston, or I could have just stayed at home. And so we all are presented with these opportunities every day. And so, so one of my first groupings here is songs about the hero's journey. And I hope to put those songs out there so that, because songs and stories bypass all the pre-beliefs that you have. Don't listen to that song. If it's a song that's a story, your brain's going to listen to it. And so I want to put those out there because, again, you may not want to listen to me. You may not want to hear my stories, but you'll listen to my song. And then if you hear it over and over again, it'll start sinking in because, hey, that's me. I get that. And so, so that one, the Hero's Journey series is one of the groupings of the songs. Another grouping is Mindset and Motivation series, inspired by personal development books. And so I have a lot of books that have key messages in them. And you may not be able to read the book, but you can get the key message and apply it to your life. So one of my first books that I had ever bought was Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins. I created a song about that. There's another one about self-image, confidence, and self-esteem. There's a book about taking leaps of faith. You know, instead of being scared, just go ahead and take a leap of faith. They always talk about that the life begins when you're at the edge. And that just means that when you're at your comfort zone, that's when you're really learning, because then all of a sudden your comfort zone extends out even further and you learn more. Decide once, win daily. That's about having systems that work for you on a daily basis. You do it once and it keeps working for you. Just like this 90-day freedom blueprint will show you. Get in there, take a look at that, and you can see how this system works for me to create income. Then let's see what Grace Unveiled. Just basically, you know, we don't deserve what we get, but we get it. And so you got to take what life gives you, what God gives you, what happens to you, and embrace it and move on and keep building and keep growing. The gold within is not about money, monetary. It's you. It's you finding all your tools, all your treasures inside of you, and bringing those out so that you can help other people. Release your brakes. This is a book that I had read a long time ago, and it was about that. You know, people want to do stuff, but they have the brakes on, inside their head, and they don't do it. They think about it, they start it, but there's always the brake, and so you don't do it. So there's a book called Release Your Brakes that helps you get rid of the brake and helps you start doing and getting what you want to get. The flow state anthem. So the flow state is, and I know everybody's entered into the flow state at one point or another. When I was cutting grass at home back in Houston, and I would get into I would lose track of time. Everything was perfect. The grass smelled great. Even the noise of the lawnmower was okay. I was just in flow, and I was going up I would go one row, come back, one row, come back. And before I knew it, the whole, the yard was cut. It smelled so good. And I don't know how much time had passed, and I don't know how long it was, but it was done. And you're in a flow state, and we've all had it. And so you want to learn how to get into that flow state so that you can just focus on your work like I'm doing here. I'm in a flow state here because I'm doing this. I'm not paying attention to anything else. I don't pay attention to the people that are walking by. I don't pay attention to my phone buzzing. Even though I heard it, I didn't pick it up and I didn't do anything with it. Then, Psycho-Cybernetics theme song. You know, I talked a little bit about the book Psycho-Cybernetics. And so I've talked a little bit about that. So you might want to watch some of my old videos and some of my old shorts about this. Because this is where I got the concept for the idea of self-ice. That your whole life is about self-image, self-confidence, and self-esteem, what you think about yourself. And so do that. Who's out here? Let's see. Well, thanks everybody for stopping by that's out here. I appreciate it. And then I wrote a song from a book written by Viktor Frankl. And he wrote the book, Man's Search for Meaning, after he was in a Jewish internment camp in Germany, and he was a prisoner. And he was like, why is this happening to me? Why? And he didn't know what he was going to get out of this, being a prisoner and being treated the way he was treated. But then when he came out, he wrote this book that has impacted a lot of lives, because you have to make what you can make with what you got. And so it was a good book. I put it to a song, and I'll be publishing that here soon. And then the Science of Getting Rich anthem is also a song about, whatever you create. So the Science of Getting Rich basically says, there's this thing out there. You don't know what it is, but as soon as you have a problem or you want to come up with some solution, you create this idea, and the idea is right here. Boom. And then you want to make that idea happen, and you start poking around. You go to this website, you go to that, you buy this, you buy that, you buy a book, you take a class. Next thing you know, your idea all of a sudden is in physical form. Or in this case here, I wanted to get on TikTok Live. I wanted to have my fan not be burning up over here, which is not. I wanted to have a phone layout because most people watch TikToks on their phone, and so I wanted to have that little white, the black with the white is just about a title, about the theme of what we talk about. Then the blue one is my daily pay gold mine, is where I have my 90-day freedom blueprint, where if you don't have the skills to learn how to market or do any other business, you want to get that freedom blueprint, because I'm a learner. And so whenever I wanted to learn something, I went and bought a book. And I have a lot of books that cover a big, wide range of subjects and topics. And so you might want to cut that time down by going through that 90-day freedom blueprint and buying the product once, and then, but here's the hard part. You're going to buy it, but just because you buy it doesn't mean jack. You still have to implement. You have to learn it, implement it, make mistakes, fall, have issues with technology, have issues with your registrations, have issue with your domain name, have issue, and all that is part of that process that helps you grow into the person you're supposed to become to serve others. Because at the end of the day, that's what we do. We serve others, and people don't want somebody to help them that nothing ever happens to them, so it's real easy. You want to have people that have gone through a lot of fires, have skinned their knees a lot, have had ideas shot down, have had successes, have had failures and setbacks, because all those are what you're trying to accomplish, because that's what's going to help you help other people. Once you get that and you become unselfish and you start helping other people, that's where the magic happens. Okay, so that's also going to be one of the categories. I'm going to have mindset and motivation, and all these are songs that I've already written that are in there. Now, number 3 is in Spanish, Cultura y Corazón, Mexican style storytelling and tribute songs. A French song with my friend Edith. Another one, 100 Years redo from Pedro Infante. Caitlin Graduation Anthem is a mariachi style song for a graduate friend of mine whose daughter is graduating high school. Claudia, my friend here, also is creating a spiritual course for women. And so we created this cool little anthem song for them. And it's really nice. Like I said, we'll put that together so you can see it. The Canción de Amistad, tribute to long-lasting friendships. En cada mujer tiene su historia. Every woman has a story. And so the stuff that Claudia is working on is about women in the Bible. Not the good women, but the bad women. And how they made it through their badness, right? And so that's going to be for at her church. So I did some work for her on that. Then I got Everyday Life and Humor. My brother's song. He was in the hospital, and when he would clank on the edge of the bed on the rails to get people's attention and to get them to come and help him with getting something to drink or whatever. And he couldn't talk because he was intubated and he had a tube in his throat, right? But he could clang the side of the bed. And so that, to me, it gave me a good idea for a song. I put it together. I don't remember writing a road trip song, but I'll have to take a look at it and see it again. Substitute Teacher Blues. It's a gig economy anthem. I'll have to take a look at that one too, because when you're working with songs, it's all about issues that people are having, and that you want to sort of kind of work with, solve, help people get through, and so all these are about side hustle kind of songs. And then number 5 is faith and Bible stories. So one of the verses that Claudia is using is Joshua 1:9, and again, being strong and courageous. There's a Grace Unveiled meditation mix, a Divine Territory based on Think a Thought with Faith and Love, Story of Esther coming soon, and Biblical State of Mind. It's a Neville Goddard style song. Then number 6, entrepreneur and freedom anthems like Daily Goal system themes. Do the work once, official Daily Goal theme. Freedom Bridge, your transition story. Freedom Bridge just means basically that you're stuck at, this is the old way, you're on a bridge to a new way. And so Freedom Bridge is helping you get there. The Digital Hustle Anthem, Making Money Online song. 36,000 a year to 36,000 a month as a vision. And I do that because you can, in this online space, make 36,000 a month, which is some people's yearly annual income. And so I just want to put out the vision that that's what we're striving for. We want to take that $36,000 a year income and turn it into a $36,000 a month income. All right. So then there's the Architect of Freedom. It's just basically me helping you build your business, build your mindset, build your talents and skills, and help you become the architect of your freedom. See, I never have a problem. If I have a problem at my work where I'm a substitute teacher, I don't need them. They need me. I'm there for the kids. But if I have an issue with the teacher, administration, or whatever, I'll say, see ya. And I like that because, again, nobody has their claws in me. That's being free. Nobody says you can't go and you ain't gonna want to go. So you want that feeling of freedom. TikTok pays me now. That kind of songs are. TikTok is my new way of going, because I used to be at another platform, but it was just hard to do any business over there. But now with TikTok, everything's in my hand. Everything that they do is in my hand. So I'll focus on TikTok this year. Let's see what else. Again, it just helps me organize next steps, like creating folders, tagging each song, batch uploading from TikTok and YouTube. adding playlists to my Stan Store. So Stan Store is TikTok's version of like a store, and you can get that Stan Store and start loading it with different things to market. And because it's part of TikTok, they don't bug you about it, because if you go off site and say, oh, I have it over on Facebook, they're not going to like that, and they're not going to like it if you go off the system. But so anyway, and so Brett does that, and then what I was trying to do this morning before I went to work. This TikTok Live Studio is okay. It's not great. It's okay. There's another streaming software that works better and does more things and helps me share more information. But you have to have a stream key. That means I have to little special. It's not a key. It's a number, and I couldn't figure it out. And there's just, I don't know where the key is. You know, they got stream keys in Zoom. They got stream keys for YouTube. They got stream keys for a lot of other software packages. But I just haven't been able to find the stream key for TikTok. And so I'm working on that. And then prosperity cycle summary. Let's see what this says here. So the prosperity cycle summary is based on this book, The Secret to Permanent Prosperity. It's one of my books that I've carried around for a long time. You see, it's already torn and beat up, and I've had to tape it lots of times, and so I have a lot of tape on it. But the thing about lasting prosperity is that you have to have a mindset that says, I can do, I am my own prospect. I am my own asset. I can create income on demand because of the skills that I have. And so when you have that confidence, then you're basically permanently prosperous, because you can go and you can go do work for other people, in the sense of you can create value for that person, and they'll pay you for it. So the core idea, it says here, is prosperity consciousness. Prosperity isn't just making money. It starts with mindset. Hernacki calls this prosperity consciousness, a way of seeing that you have value to give and deserve abundance. So every day you're going to be giving value, but you're going to expect value in return. You're just not going to give free value. You're going to give it to somebody that's going to give you back for whatever they don't have to learn, and because of whatever you did for them. So you want that to be your mindset, that you're adding value, but you're also going to be receiving value. All right? And it's accessible to anyone, regardless of age, experience, or education, right now. But you have to know that that's what you're trying to do. And so there's just a lot of little things that have happened in my life that it just doesn't happen. You have to be searching for it, be looking, be awake, so that when it comes to you, you say, that's it. That's what I was looking for. Then here there's a cycle, a prosperity cycle: value, achievement. Value leads to achievement. Achievement leads to prosperity. Prosperity leads to give back, and give back leads to renew value. You create value by solving a need or serving others. You achieve results, financial or personal. You prosper, experience more freedom and confidence. You give back, reinvest in others or your growth, and you repeat and build sustainable momentum. And so, it's that's the very first thing you have to know, is that we have to be able to give and receive value every day for the rest of our lives. That's the secret. That's the secret to permanent prosperity, is know that you have something of value to offer, and then offer it. But then offer it every day for the rest of your life. And so that's the part where people say, no, I want it to just give it all to me right now. It doesn't work that way. So we have to give value every single day. That's what I like about TikTok, because they want us, they want part of the process to be on TikTok is to create lives that bring people to TikTok and keep people on this platform. then why don't so why people lose abundance? According to Reader's, Hernacki explains not just how to gain prosperity, but why people lose it. Typically gets when they stop adding new value or let fear shrink their capacity again. So our capacity, this brain that we have is super, it's just one size, but it's super big in terms of what it can imagine, what it can create. And so if you don't ever grow, so right now we'll just say your mind's like this, and every year that you're in education or schooling, it grows a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. That's what I tell the kids at school. The kindergartners, I said, your brain's like this. And when I'm done with you, it's going to be like this a little bit, because we're going to talk about a lot of different things, but you're going to know some new stuff. And so every year that you that you educate yourself or that you experience new things, you're building that brain. And so, and you don't want to forget that you can learn new things every year. And so that's why some people forget. And I had another mentor that said the biggest problem with people is their forgetfulness. They forget that they're capable of doing these things. So number 5 is about conquering fear. Fear is part of the process. When you conquer your fear, you become larger than it. What can I say about fear? We all have it. We all get it. A friend of mine told me that the way she read it somewhere in a book that says, if you have fear, that's the devil talking to you. Devil, you acknowledge it. Devil, get behind me. And then you just keep moving. Pushing through your fear, your confidence and ability to grow. Again, I know that I don't have all the answers, and sometimes I get frustrated, so I take it, I shut down what I'm doing and come back to it, because I need time to think on it and sort of kind of just ponder it, right? Ponder the problem. And so once you start doing that and you become a habitual problem solver, and you're always conquering fear, before you know it, nothing doesn't scare you anymore. You just keep moving. Let me see who's looking for me right real quick. No, I'm good. Number 6, call to action. The challenge for today, identify one small way you'll add value, whether it's a small service, share of knowledge, or act of kindness. Again, this is a great place on TikTok to add and share value. I'm giving you my 65 years of gray hairs here of what I've achieved, failed, learned, and benefited from, so that you can have a head start. And so one of the things that I want to help other people is everybody has to start. You can't go from where you're at right now to where I'm at overnight. You have to do some work. You have to do some reading. You have to do some watching videos. You have to do some note taking. I got a table over here full of notebooks. I got one. There's some notebooks on that back wall. And that just has to be your whole new life. You have to start learning about these things, asking questions, and sort of kind of putting it all together. But you got to see it in your head first that you're going to learn skills that's going to make you free from a job, because you have skills now to work from anywhere. Like I said, when I'm going to go see my brother next week, I'm taking a Chromebook, a travel monitor, some other little light rigging things that I'm going, because I can travel and work from wherever. And when I get back from that trip, I want to travel into Mexico and start working and living out of Mexico and doing it from there. And so, but again, all that comes from having skills. You got to have skills. So let's see, why does this work for TikTok Lives? Quick and engaging, keeps attention with 6 to 8 punchy points. Emotional hooks, you talk about mindset, fear, and transformation. interactive, ends with a challenge and invites comments. I challenge you to go watch this one video. I have a video. It's 1 hour long. If you want it, you want the link, comment video, and I'll send you the link to that video. But people want all these things, but they're not willing to do the work. And all I'm wanting you to do is go to my 90-day freedom blueprint, put in your email, get the link to the blueprint. And so whatever is holding you back from doing that is what's going to hold you back from doing everything else. So then, so it tells me about pro tips for delivery, and it gives me some other ideas here. But so we're at an hour and 20 minutes. I got about 30 minutes to go, 20 minutes to go. And but all this was a list of today's interactions with ChatGPT. And the reason I tell you that is because you will never be at a loss for conversational material. All you have to do is have a thought and expand on that thought in ChatGPT, and it'll give you more stuff. And then when that's done, you get on a live, you get your little screen set up like this, where you have your cameras up here, you have your side screen over here underneath, and people can follow along with you about what you're saying and what you're talking about. And so you're never at a loss for words. You're never at a loss for any content, right? Now, you may not have as much experience as I have, and that's okay, because I know that you have experiences in other things that I don't have. And so the main thing is to be confident that you're worthy, you're capable. You just have to put the time in to do it and get out of your head. All right? So then that was today. That was yesterday. So anyway, what else is in here? So yesterday I had a viewer come by and ask me if I knew or had any tips on for a chef that was going to do interview prep. And so I didn't know exactly what Yak was doing in terms of what kind of restaurant he was working at, or what kind of kitchen he was working in, and what he was trying to do. So I created a little chart for him that helps him prepare when he goes for that interview. And part of it was, research the restaurant, the role, learn what type of cuisine they have, the style of service, and the chef's philosophy, because you're going to be learning from a chef. And read reviews, visit the restaurant, check social media. Know before you go, so do your homework, because employers love it when you've done your homework. Prepare for common interview questions. Here are a few your friends should be ready to answer. Why do you want to be a chef? What is your signature dish and why? How do you handle pressure in a busy kitchen? Tell me about a time you had to fix a mistake on the line. And what's your understanding of food safety standards? And it gives you a pro tip. Use the STAR method. The situation, the task, the action, the result, for storytelling. So when you want to answer a question, use this STAR method, and it helps you stay organized. The situation was, the task was this, the action was this, and the result was this. You can't miss with that. Practice cooking a demo or trial. Many restaurants ask chefs to cook a dish on the spot. Are you able to cook a dish on the spot? I can cook eggs. That's about it. But people that have watched the Master Chefs and the challenges and all that, those guys know how to cook on the spot. Work a trial shift, for that company, so that they can see how you work and how you operate. Again, bring your own knives and tools if requested. Focus on cleanliness, timing, and communication. Prepare a go-to signature dish that showcases your skill and creativity. So if you're going to be a chef, then you have to know what kind of food you want, what kind of food you like to prepare, and how you present it. And so you got to do that. Dress professionally. I had a friend today that he had a raggedy hair do for the longest time, and I kept telling him, get a haircut, get a haircut. He finally got a haircut because he went on a job interview, and he looked pretty clean and pretty handsome. Dress professionally whenever you go to an interview of any kind. Wear clean chef whites, or be neat and presentable. And again, if you have a portfolio of culinary delights of foods that you prepare, get those ready, put them on a resume so that you can show them off. Develop strong communication skills. Fast-paced kitchen is no different than a busy office environment. You got to be able to take feedback, give direction. You got to work as a team. Practice English interview phrases if needed. Again, kitchen terminology, safety protocols, explaining your dishes. Prepare questions for them. Not only are they going to ask you questions, but you want to ask them questions. What's a typical kitchen structure like here? What are your expectations for new chefs? Do you offer growth or training opportunities? And then as a bonus, with ChatGPT, you can use ChatGPT to role play with you. You can have it be the restaurant that's hiring and have it ask you questions and you respond back. And then it'll go back and forth so you can get practice doing that. And so gives a little words of encouragement here. Let's get your French chef hired in the U.S. kitchen scene. So anyway, we're coming down to the 90-minute mark, and I wanted to just, again, thank everybody for showing up. Thank you for all the hearts. Thank you for being part of this great platform. I think everybody that's on it needs to get on, not only on the creating side, not only on the viewing side, but on the creating side. And again, you don't have to dance and you don't have to do all these other kinds of crazy things. But if you can set up the camera, you can talk about things that are important to you and add value to the community, then this is your place. All right? So with all that being said, I am going to shut this thing down because it's time for my dinner. And I appreciate everybody coming out. And if you have any questions, go to dailypaygoldmine.com. Put your email in there. Get the blueprint. And let's start a conversation. Let's start figuring out how we can collaborate. And we'll go from there. All right? I want to have everybody have a good night. We'll talk tomorrow. Tomorrow in the morning, I'm going to try to, again, hopefully my system's working and everything. But I do go live at 4:30 in the morning Mountain Standard Time, which is 6:30 on the East Coast, 5:30 a.m. Central, and 4:30 my time. Well, I'm in the forgotten time zone. It is what it is. So, talk to you soon. Have a great evening. Bye.